right, MMA Maniacs. Welcome once again to another edition of Split Decision MMA Podcast, your left coast edition of MyMMAnews.com. Joey ain't here today, so you got to put up with me, Dennis. Oh, and Brandon's here too, and Josh is on the other side. And thanks for tuning in.
We'll see what happens today.
Give a little bit of love to our sponsor, StrongboardBalance.com. Change the way you work out. Get on board. StrongboardBalance.com. It really will. You know, I've had a lot of people trying it out this week here in the house, and the kids love it.
Wait, it's back?
Yeah, the board's back.
No one told me it's back.
I can't tell you where it's at, but the board is back.
I want it back.
But once again, that's StrongboardBalance.com. Change the way you work out. Get on board. So what do we got today, Dodge?
Let's start out with some news. We got Justin Wren signing over to Bellator MMA. He will make his debut the 28th of August. Justin Wren was from The Ultimate Fighter Season 10 in the heavyweight division. So, yeah, good luck to Mr. Justin Wren going to Bellator.
Well, at least he's actually going to fight. You know, unlike the CM Punk I keep hearing about.
He's going to fight?
I can't believe, he told him, I'm a UFC fighter. You haven't fought, Punk.
But he's a signed UFC fighter.
It doesn't matter. He has yet to receive a check and cash it.
Oh, I'm sure he's received a retainer check.
Oh, well.
Got to give him that. And he's been to a Q&A. Have you been to a Q&A? Were you on stage?
What do you? Let's have a Q&A right now. What do you want to know, Dodge?
I've been to a TNA.
Dana White further dividing lines between him and Stitch Duran recently came out when people were asking him, Stitch was on record saying, if Dana would have reached out to me, we were friends. If he would have reached out to me, I'll come right back to the UFC. Dana White says, we were never friends. He's never coming back.
I mean, it's already been said by the 14-year-old kid, but Dana White's a douchebag.
Yeah. He said, friends are people you call on the phone and hang out with and talk on the phone all the time. Don House, who was one of our cutmen from the very beginning, him and I are still close, but Stitch was never my friend. Stitch was another thing. Stitch said I should have called him. I've never dealt with Cutman ever. We have a department for that. We weren't friends. We're not friends. No, you shouldn't be expecting a call from me.
That's ridiculous. I got friends that I talk to maybe once every 5 years.
Yeah, but do you reach out to them and they reach out to you?
Yeah, every 5 years.
All right, well, he was saying that Stitch never reached out to him, and nor should he have to reach out to him.
I bet you there's at least 2 pictures of Stitch at a barbecue at his house. Playing in the snow, I bet.
I don't know. He's saying no. Never happened.
Yeah, well, he denies a lot of stuff. Like, we're never going to see women in the UFC.
One thing he's not denying, though, is that they are going to go after Wanderlei Silva.
Oh, in court?
In court.
This is the only way to shut him up.
They filed a suit against Wanderlei Silva in Clark County District Court in Las Vegas, based false and defamatory statements published by Wanderlei Silva.
So I'm looking at this like maybe there's some validity to the stuff he's been throwing.
Maybe. They're seeking $10,000 in damages.
Yeah, the money thing is not the deal. The deal is they want him to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
Because if they wanted it to go from his pocket, it would have been $100,000 or
that's my thing. Is
$500,000.
Looking at all these things, how much of this do you think is actually true? Do you think Wanderlei's just Wanderlei and being crazy and just talking shit?
Again, like we've already talked about, Shamrock admitted to fixing fights in other organizations. I think that this could be a dam that breaks, and once the dam breaks, you're going to have tons of people come forward and say, well, this fight wasn't fixed, but they did tell us to take it so many rounds. Or
I don't know, man. Once it came to the Athletic Commission, once Zuffa bought it, I just don't see it being that way. Beforehand, when there was no rules, there was no regulatory body, when it was just a freak fringe sport that didn't have any,
And truthfully, that's what he's probably going to bring up.
Yeah.
He will probably bring up pre-Zuffa.
And that's the thing, is I don't think you could say that I know that the UFC themselves, that Zuffa has fixed fights.
Right.
Now, if he says the UFC, and that's all before, that's back when, SEC had it, the global company, you know what I mean, had it back in the day, that's possible.
Yeah, and the bookies don't want to hear that there's been some fixes.
No, that's definitely not going to work out for them. We have Dominic Cruz talking about TJ Dillashaw. He says that he's nothing but a wannabe. He says...
with a belt.
Yeah, the wannabe. He says that I see absolutely no similarities in my fighting style and TJ Dillashaw's. He says, they're saying we do things differently. He's switching stances. I don't. I'm doing something totally different that nobody understands. Listen to my fight commentary years ago. They said I was awkward and herky-jerky and they'd never seen before. It was weird. Now they're saying that it's beautiful and it's, he's using his feet and using his stance, and it's now the commentary's changed. Do you think he has some sort of valid point there, saying, before he was the one who basically started the whole Neo footwork.
I don't know. We're going to get into the whole Steven Seagal and the rest of these other people who are going to say, well, I'm the one that started that, or I did that before anybody else, you know. But yeah, but are you currently holding a belt? No. You know?
Yeah. He says that they're building up TJ because they need to because he's not there. He said that without him, the division is dead. There was nothing going on for that division.
That's so ridiculous. The division really isn't that bad.
No, I actually think it's in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, that is a fight that TJ Dillashaw wants. He says he would like to fight Cruz, especially he wants to solidify that he is the champion because he was the former champion. He didn't lose his belt to anybody. He had to drop the belt due to injuries.
But he probably sprained his wrist after typing this.
Dominic Cruz won't come back until October of next year.
Seriously?
Yep. That's how.
And he's coming. And this is off knee surgery, right?
Knee, hand, whatever else, elbow.
He's like Frankenstein's monster.
Torn labia. I don't know.
Got a bunch got a bunch of sand up in there.
So you made it big when a couple things happen.
Speaking of torn labia.
Yeah.
When a couple things happen, you've made it big in American culture. You make cover Sports Illustrated, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Named greatest athlete in the world,
Yeah.
right? And you're the subject of a porn parody.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey is now the subject of a porn parody. She can check off all three of those. From the company that brings you Tits a Wonderful Life, The Horny Mooners, and Cliffbanger, we are now going to get Ronda Arouse Me, starring Joanna Angel, who is a big fan and sees it as an homage to her favorite fighter. Joanna Angel, if you don't know, is in classics such as Fuckenstein, Grand Theft Anal 10, and Rock and Roll in My Butthole 2.
Wow. We don't make these names up, people.
No, we don't.
We did not make these names up.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's great.
Yeah. The Ronda Arouse Me role will be played by Cleo Valentine, who's coming off of her win for Best Three-Way Scene in Captain America XXX and Axel Braun parody.
You ever watch some of the AVN?
Yeah.
I can't watch the whole thing, but I catch bits and pieces, and I just laugh my ass off. I don't know. What's the next there? See that? We don't have no video?
No, there's no videos.
Oh, my goodness.
Just TMZ.
Yeah.
My favorite is this story broke on the Underground, for those of you who are listening out there from the Underground, from a guy whose screen name is Gay Guard Moose Saucy. And that is spelled G-A-Y, G-U-A-R-D, Moose, M-O-O-S-E, and Saucy, S-A-U-S-C-Y. That's probably one of the best screen names I've seen
He's
in a long
probably
time.
Daryl.
That's MMA related.
Yeah, he's probably Daryl Moose Knuckles' cousin.
Oh, it's good times.
Good times.
We have World Series of Fighting going on this weekend, which we'll get to here a little bit later in the show. But quick update to that card. Thiago Silva has been removed from that card due to his failed drug test coming off of his fight back at UFC 125, where he submitted a fake urine sample.
So I don't even know how did he get scheduled into this fight, and then.
Now, mind you, that was back at 2011.
But I just don't. I mean,
he has not fought in Nevada since this is happening in Nevada. He has not been reissued a license to fight in Nevada. I believe he's worked somewhere else, though.
But I mean, before you schedule something, you think you would, like, I don't know.
Get it all taken care of? Maybe he was supposed to have getting it taken care of, and he hasn't even dragging his
Send the commission a list of people and be like, hey, we're thinking about putting this thing together. Do you think all these people will make it? Some type of short clearance sheet.
Now, again, if you go back to when this fight actually happened, when he had it overturned, that was UFC 125 back in January of 2011. Now, he has fought since then. He's fought twice in Brazil, once in Sweden, once in China, and once in Arizona. So this just has to do with the Nevada State Athletic Commission that apparently they are not licensing him to fight because this fight is happening in Nevada. That's where the issue is being upheld.
Okay. Yeah, because I do remember that we kept thinking that it was funny that he would only fight in Brazil, and then that's why.
It's also Vitor, man. He only wanted to fight in Brazil there for a little while.
Right.
So, but we do have an update. So Mike Kyle will now face Clifford Starks. We'll get into that a little bit later. Hopefully they can get Thiago Silva's things to clear up everything with the Athletic Commission. He'll be back fighting in Las Vegas soon.
I don't remember that. How did they find out it was fake pee?
They tested it. When they tested it,
it's like,
had synthetics.
This is not real.
This is not real.
It's kind of carbonated.
This doesn't taste like Brazilian pee.
UFC 191, which is going to be headlined by Demetrius Johnson going up against John Dodson, is also going to be having Mir versus Arlovski.
Now watch.
Frank Mir, Andre Arlovski.
This will be the fight that you see more about. And they'll be like, oh, and Dodson's fighting too.
Do you like this fight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much so. Especially since both of them have, like, gone away, did their whole Rocky thing, and are back for vengeance.
Yeah, I think it's good. Apparently they reached out to Alistair Overeem to fight either one of them. He declined. He wants to fight Junior Dos Santos later in the year, probably around December.
Yeah, Reem's got way more people to hurt in practice. That's what he's doing.
So how do you see this fight going? Frank Mir or Andre Arlovski? Early pick.
Early pick, I'm on Arlovski. Because Mir
he's on 3 straight and Mir's on 2 straight.
Yeah, but Mir looked a little fluffy against Duffy.
Yeah, man, he's been doing yoga.
It's something.
With the soccer moms.
Yeah.
That's what he told us.
Yeah, I like what he said that he what did he make it 15 minutes?
Yeah.
And then just put himself over in the corner.
And just cried?
He said, because I hurt, babe. I hurt.
Johnny Hendricks is not happy about Lawler versus Condit as much as we were. We were super happy that Robbie Lawler would be going up against Carlos Condit for the title in December at UFC 194. However, it has been the rumors are that Johnny Hendricks will be fighting Tyrone Woodley. Johnny Hendricks says he's pissed. He says, you fight, you do the right things, and then you get jumped.
You didn't fight.
What do I need to do to stay relevant? What do I need to do to get back to that title?
Fight.
I'm sitting there going through all these things. Don't get me wrong, I'm still mad. But again, what can I do? The only thing I can do is go out there and train, get another win, sort of do a cowboy. If you're a cowboy and you start beating everybody, the next thing you know, there's going to be nobody but me.
Aww.
I'm still hoping there's a chance.
You're a crybaby, dude.
Yeah,
and you lay on people.
Yeah. This is my favorite. This is going into Johnny Hendricks' mindset as it seems like lately since he's fought. I would say GSP says, I understand. Look, let's say I went 0-2 against Lawler. It'd be totally different. If I went 0-2, I totally get that. I'm going to have to wait for somebody else. But technically, we're 5-5 on rounds. I've won 5 and he's won 5 according to these judges. So our first fight was fight of the year. Our second fight was good, but it wasn't fight of the year. It was still good. You have to look at it, and that's what we got to go with.
Do you not remember what he said too when he lost? If you go by the judge, if you go by this, if you go by takedowns,
right,
and contact, no, let's go by wins and losses.
My thing is Johnny Hendricks. I used to like Johnny Hendricks, especially when he was Happy Beard Guy. Does anybody remember Happy Beard Guy? It was like back in 2011 when he was coming up in the sport where nobody really knew who he was. They knew he was a good wrestler with heavy hands, but that was about it. And he was just always smiling, always happy to get in there, going to knock guys out. And then when he went to GSP, I think he absorbed GSP's part of his soul, that whole I got to win a decision to win fights thing, and I'm no longer going to try to finish guys. That's what I think happened to Johnny Hendricks. And then it's just then it's all numbers. Man, I had him down for 4 minutes, 59 seconds, and he had me down for 1 minute, 49 seconds. I don't get why I didn't win that fight. And, he was only 2 seconds longer than I was on the ground, but I got him over here, and I hit him 2 more punches than he hit me to the left, but he hit me 1 to the right. So yeah. I understand, but I should win that fight. That's been his mentality ever since he lost to GSP.
Very much so.
It's no longer, I'm just going to go in there and knock the motherfucker out. I'm just going to go out there and win. It's been a lot of grinding decisions where he feels he has to win minutes instead of actual rounds and fights.
They need to add a gong on the side of the screen when he's talking. And then just gong
Just
him.
Pull him off.
You're done.
You got to go. What do we have here? We have Ring of Combat. We have their 100th fighter going to be joining the UFC. Their middleweight undefeated champion, Uluwe Bambosi.
Yeah.
Is going to be coming to the Octagon.
And he too will fight before CM Punk.
He will fight Uriah Hall August 8th in Nashville. This says a lot for Ring of Combat, man. They're trying to say that they build guys for the UFC. What do you think?
I'm very pleased that the UFC obviously is scouting very well because they're picking up people left and right, and it's not just coming from what would it be, like King of the Cage or World Series of Fighting, but they're actually going out and looking for these guys.
Yeah. He says, he was set to compete at Ring of Combat 52 in September because of the passion of the sport. The UFC gave him the call, and Lou, the owner, tore up his contract and says, go ahead, go for it, go live your dream. He says, I understand that as a fighter, if I was fighting, I'd want to go to the UFC too. My goal is to get as many fighters into the UFC, which is the best promotion in the world, as I can. I feel like I'm doing a great job and having them able to perform on a world-class international audience.
It's crazy. I think that's great. It makes me wonder, so what do you think Tachi Palace is on this list?
I still think that's a little more local.
Yeah?
It's a little more California based.
You don't think anybody outside of California knows what we're talking about?
There might be a few
people.
If they follow some of the fighters and a lot of the guys who they're up and coming fighters, especially guys who just got into the UFC, possibly Bellator or World Series of Fighting. If they go back and look at the fights in their career, you find a lot of them on YouTube. You can find a lot of them online. Might be able to go and watch the Tachi Palace fights.
Yeah, and ShareDog's great about that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to try to find some stuff on somebody, ShareDog
They can
is a
usually
great place
find it
to
for
help
you.
out. Yeah, there you go, ShareDog. It's a free bone.
Yeah, we're helping you out.
Yeah. Well, might be running ads on them soon, so
Sweet.
we don't know.
So Brian Caraway recently won. We'll get into the breakdown here in a little bit, but recently won his fight at UFC Fight Night on Fox, and then he called out our local boy Michael McDonald.
Yeah, and Mike's he already said he'd be coming back later in the year, if not the beginning of next year.
Yep.
So
He said, who's above me in the rankings? I've been wanting to fight him for a while. Is Michael McDonald. I'm waiting for him or Eddie Wineland. I just took out Eddie Wineland. I really want to fight McDonald. He's been that number 4 or 5th ranked spot forever, and I really want to break into that top 5. I'm looking forward to it. He says he's hoping to get in there. Let's see, where's it at? He said he either wants to fight Michael McDonald or he wants to fight for the title. That's his 2 goals. No word yet from Michael McDonald when he's supposed to be coming back. He did say recently. Hopefully we can reach out to him soon.
I think it was going to take one of us just driving over to his gym and camped out front with like a boombox.
Stand out there. Michael, come on the show.
Michael,
come on the show.
Mike.
We'll just have it on a replay. Like, Mike. Guess what day it is? Podcast day. I think we can make that happen.
I think you could. I would videotape it all.
All right. We'll make that happen.
Literally, I have a VHS videotaper.
Yeah. I think I have a boombox.
We'll do it old school.
Put it on tape. Just have it replay. Last little bit of news before we get into the breakdowns. The court has denied the delay discovery in the UFC suit. This is going to put them in some time limits. They were hoping to delay all the discovery obligations, which is how much they're paying fighters. A lot of their having to open basically their books, and they're saying that it's going to be delayed a few weeks, is what it is. Possibly a couple months. They're not going to dismiss it completely, which is what Zufo obviously was hoping to do. Was trying to get the whole lawsuit dismissed.
It's somewhere there's an IRS agent going, yeah, I can't wait to see all of this. I cannot wait to see all of this.
They said they still have to have a chance. The court still has a chance to rule on the motion to dismiss all the claims, but they will have to put their financials into the public eye at some point once everything is submitted and proposed under confidentiality and protective orders.
I don't know.
So a little bit, not necessarily either way. I think it's kind of a little bit both. Obviously the lawsuit is still happening, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Has anybody stated how much they want or what exactly they're going for?
I have not seen any actual details yet.
Because even the press release was so vague.
So vague.
And anytime that
anybody would ask questions, they didn't want to. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
It'll
later.
be in court. It'll be in court.
Yeah.
It'll
When will then be now?
Yeah.
Soon. They didn't want to talk about it.
When was then? Just now.
Just now.
UFC on Fox 16 happened July 25th from Chicago. We got to see TJ Dillashaw defend his belt against Renan Barão. We can start off on the preliminary card. Did you get a chance to watch the Fight Pass card?
Oh, yeah.
I missed the Fight Pass. I was able to catch.
This is another one of those. It was great all the way from the Fight Pass all the way to the main card.
I did get to catch everything else. So let's start out. Zach Cummings defeats Dominic Steele TKO of round 1.
Punches to the face. 43 seconds. It was quick.
Elizabeth Phillips over Jasmine Duke.
You know what?
Jasmine Duke gets her walking papers, or do you think she gets one more shot?
I don't know. I walked away after the second because I knew there wasn't going to be much change in the third.
Andrew Holbrook going up against Ramsey Nijam. Split decision. I read a lot of back and forth in this. Did you think Nijam did enough to
I don't know.
warrant a loss in a split decision?
This is another one of those where I think that the draw should have came in.
Yeah? Is that close?
Yeah.
Razor thin.
Yeah.
All right, James Krause over Darren Cruikshank. Rear naked choke of the first round.
I should not blink. It was like he ran from him, and then,
Caught him. Wrapped him up.
Yeah.
All right. Brian Caraway gets his win over Eddie Wineland, unanimous decision. What did you think about this fight? It's the first fight to knock off the Fox card. I wasn't that impressed with
I wasn't.
Brian Caraway. I thought actually Eddie Wineland,
I do understand the 30-27
I
because
do.
Wineland completely looked like he gave up in the third.
He did. I think he knew he was down on points. He was down on decision. He's like, fuck this, man.
Yeah, he completely gave. I feel anyway. I mean, I'm not a fighter.
I like Eddie Wineland, too, a lot.
But I just feel that he didn't. I don't know. Maybe he was gassed, but
Brian Caraway he just did what he does. He's grinding it out. He's mixing up his boxing, he's mixing up his wrestling for the most part. Getting some.
And Caraway didn't look tired in the third.
No, did not look tired. Now, do you think Brian Caraway is a guy who's knocking on top 10 door? He's knocking on, top 5. I mean, with this fight, he does jump to number 6. So
I don't know.
He is tied there.
We're sitting there staring at the top 5. I don't see anybody. I see him knocking out.
You got Renan Barão, obviously TJ Dillashaw, the champion. Renan Barão, Dominic Cruz, Rafael Swanko, Uriah Faber, and Michael Mayday McDonald. And then he is tied with Aljamain Sterling. He surpasses Johnny Eduardo and Takeya Mizugaki. So, what do you think?
I don't see him beating anybody in the top 5 to take their spot.
5 to take their spot. Who would you like to see him up against next? Do you think that Mayday fight is warranted? Mayday comes back. It's his first fight. Against Brian Caraway?
I don't know. If he wants to be mouthy like that, I'd say let Barão rest up and let him take on Barão.
That's pretty big jump. That's jumping over Uriah and Assunção.
But I mean, really, in this style, that's how it should be, right? Yeah. Oh, okay.
You're moving. I mean, he moved up 6 spots.
Right.
That's pretty big.
1 fight 6, 2 fights 7.
Yeah. All right. Then you have Ben Saunders over Kenny Robinson, split decision. Do you feel Ben Saunders did enough to win?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think just Kenny Robinson just didn't do enough? Or do you think it was just that close and he had that much of an edge?
Yeah, I don't think it was that much of an edge, but he was definitely... I think he had more control. I think on total strikes landed, he had more... I mean, he was just the better fighter.
It was razor thin. I mean, 29-28, 29-28, and 28-29.
Yeah.
So that's pretty close there. And then you had Jim Miller taking out Danny Castillo in another split decision, close fight. I thought Jim Miller did enough. I didn't think it necessarily needed to be a split decision, that it could have been a unanimous, but I understand, getting down some of those rounds, it was really tough. But I felt Jim Miller did just enough to win.
Right. And to add to what Dwayne was already saying about Team Alpha Male, I mean,
Daniel, though, apparently went and trained with Bang.
I don't know, man. He just seemed flat. Didn't he seem flat to you?
Maybe he's going to go back to his hot Pilates class. Tom Lawler.
Wow.
Over Gian Vellante, who Gian Vellante I thought was winning that fight.
He just came out and I'm done with this shit.
Yeah, hands down. Tom Lawler just catches him 27 seconds of the second round and just plants him.
Yeah, I even went back and rewound it to see if maybe somebody said something to Tom. Dude's looking bad, bro. Your only chance is to drop his ass.
Now, did you feel that it was a quick stoppage?
No.
He looked like he was pretty... He sat down.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to get... When these guys get hit like that, I'm not going to say nothing about the quick stoppage because although some of these people do come back or they wake up when they hit the ground, should they continue fighting?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Joe Lauzon taking on Takanori Gomi. TKO the first round, 237. Jay Lau said he basically knew he took the life from him and just did not want to continue to beat him.
He called his own fight.
Yeah, he was beating. Once he had him flattened out and just started pounding on him, I thought for a second maybe Gomi actually tapped, like a tap from, but it was really his hand bouncing up for him trying to stand up but getting beat down so bad.
Yeah. Joe felt so bad for him.
He stopped.
He just stops and walks away.
Looked at the ref.
And he's looking at, I think it's Herb,
yeah.
Right? He's like, so what are you calling it? Herb didn't even know what he was going to do.
Herb was getting close. He was looking at it, and Joe gets up. And he looks at Joe, and he looks back, and he's looking at Gomi. He's looking at Gomi, and all right,
yeah.
Gomi still doesn't know where he's at right now. Where does Gomi go for here?
I don't know.
I mean, he's a legend in the sport. He's been around forever. He's one of those guys that always has heavy hands. He always comes to fight. In Pride, he was almost unstoppable. I mean, he was that good of a fighter. Coming to the UFC, he's not been doing that great. I mean, he's 2-2, and then 2-2, and then 1-1. Like, he just goes back and forth. Let's see, yeah. So he's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is now 2 losses in a row. We're gonna keep him around, just keep him on the card, so he can go fight in Japan every now and then.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's probably got 1 or 2 fights left on his contract.
Okay,
we might see that, maybe.
Edson Barbosa decisioning a Paul Felder unanimous decision. How did you feel about that fight?
Yeah.
Warranted. Totally warranted. I
Yeah.
thought Barboza's kicks looked great.
Right. I think in the second, it 29-27 maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I'm not a judge.
There you go.
Nor a fighter.
Miesha Tate versus Jessica Ai. Miesha Tate getting now her third crack at Ronda Rousey. She has earned her spot, according to Dana White. How do you feel about that?
You're going to see the same thing.
Ronda's just going to take her out again?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Ronda already has her figured out.
I like that Ronda says, the women's division right now is like a group of crops. She's like, I get some of these crops where I rip them out of the ground and they never come back. And then I get ones like Miesha where I harvest them, they get a little bit better, and they come back and I still rip them out of the ground. And I'll just wait for them to come back again.
Right. And it really is the truth. I mean, her best fight against Ronda is when she took her to the third. Mm-hmm. And obviously there was no improvement. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Do you think Ronda was playing with her in that second match?
See, and again, this is going back. This could be what Wanderley's talking about. I believe that in that fight, they might have told Ronda, "Hey, can we make it last a little longer?" Is that fixing the fight?
I don't know. I mean, there's rumors back in the Elite XC days that they asked Seth Petrozelli that when he went up against Campbell, "Hey, for taking this fight, try not to take it to the ground. We'll pay you more for stand-up fight."
So is that fixing a fight?
I don't know.
Because they're not saying don't beat him.
Right. But the other thing is, too, is if they say we're going to pay you money not to go to the ground, or if they're just saying we pay you extra for standing, which the UFC does a lot of times anyway. Remember, they used to have the knockout bonus. That's paying guys extra to go for knockouts. We have a submission bonus. That's paying guys extra to go for a submission. Now, they just have performance of the night bonus. Okay. Whoever does the best.
Getting back to this Tate fight, did you at any time see, Jessica actually really getting the upper hand?
No, I thought Miesha controlled the fight for the most of the rounds. Yeah,
I don't know.
I just think she's that much better of a fighter than Jessica. Jessica is a good fighter. I just think Miesha Tate, having been in there with Ronda and some of these other girls that she, dominates pretty well. I mean, I think Miesha's just got more experience than Jessica, in my opinion. We can look at her history of fights, and like I said, to me, the two biggest ones, obviously, going in there with Ronda as a world champion and having to survive those fights and train for somebody that's like that on an Olympic level. I mean, nobody else is doing that. These girls usually get one chance. She had two. And when Kat Zingano was a good fight for her. The Carmouche, McMahon. I mean, she's gone against some big names. You know what I mean? This is Miesha Tate. Right. She's gone against big names, man. Julie Kedzie, Marloes Conan back in the day. Those are big names.
So I guess what I'm asking you is, how did Jessica Ai get this fight with Tate? That's what I want to know. She's
been working her way through the UFC. Now, she had that split decision with Alexis Davis. It was really close. She did have that fight with Sarah Kaufman, which got overturned. Originally, I had that win, and she had a pretty good win. She did test positive for marijuana. And then I think just the big spot right there for Leslie Smith. When she took out Leslie Smith in the TKO, that says a lot for a lot of a lot of fans. But I mean, looking at the rest of her record, I don't see very many big names on her record as I do Miesha's.
Right.
Miesha Tate is that much better than Jessica Ai because of the experience level that she has.
But again, the talent pool in the
division is it's starting to dwindle. It really is.
It is.
I mean, we'll have to see what ends up happening. They're going to start bringing some more people over, and then of course TJ Dillashaw retaining his belt, taking out Renan Barão in the fourth round, 35 seconds into that fourth. I thought he was dominant the entire fight.
Yeah,
he was dominant the entire fight, and he landed so many combinations in that last flurry. It's like he just immediately goes, okay, I'm done. I'm lighting him up. And just used the footwork, trapped him against the cage. I think I sent you guys the video of someone
racking up coins.
Yeah, someone added it to the Mario remix, and they put a block on Renan Barão's head, and coins were flying out every time he punched him. And it was like 27 hit combo. It was like something out of Street Fighter, man.
And again, there was people crying early stoppage.
No. Barão was done.
Yeah, he was
when
out.
You're getting hit 27 times in the head with barely moving other than you bouncing off the cage because your head's bouncing off the cage and you slumping kind of down, and as he hits you with an uppercut, it props you back up, you're done.
Right. And I mean, and going back to what Cruz is trying to say, come on, man. This guy, he came out in this fight and proved
he's the champ.
He's a legitimate champion.
It wasn't a fluke.
Not at all.
I mean, he dominated from bell to bell, in my opinion. I mean, again.
Why do you keep going to this? Is that a toe?
Let's see. Oh, yeah, I had this story. I wasn't really going to talk too much about it. If you want to go check out Mark Hunt Fighter on Instagram. You can find out about that's his official Instagram from Mark Hunt. He had a toe infection that he got while he was helping prepare Sopalele for Antonio Bigfoot Silva. He had a toe infection. He has put the video up on his Instagram, and you can see them drain his toe and pull all these things out of it.
No.
It almost looks like he has staph in his toe.
That's disgusting.
Like, that's a hole. That's a good size
He
hole.
needs to trim his toenails, Mark. Come on. It's disgusting. Look how big his toe is compared to her little hand.
Mark Hunt's a big man.
He's a big dude.
Going the same night as UFC 190. I don't know what made the World Series of Fighting pick this date. I always think it's very strange to pick the same date that a big pay-per-view from the UFC is going to go on. But, I mean, it's competition, right?
Right.
This is what they're trying to prove. This is what the lawsuit's trying to prove. Hey, we have competition. Look, they're going up the same night as us. They have a show. They're doing stuff. It's on NBC. We're on pay-per-view.
Which casino is this at?
Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood.
Your main card, you're going to see Jimmy Spikuza going up against Islam Mamedov. Abu Akbar Nurmagomedov against George Marino. Mike Kyle now up against Clifford Starks. Marlon Morales going up against Shaymaran Morales.
Abu Akbar? Sorry. I'm sorry.
Abu Akbar?
Something like that.
How about Nurmagomedov number 2? Does that help you?
There you go.
It's
Yeah,
not
there
the
you go.
one that Nurmagomedov that's not in the UFC. Does that help you? Does that make you feel better?
It's like Abu Bakar.
Abu Bakar. All right. And then, of course, Rusamar Paul Harris going up against Jake Shields. Jake Shields, watch for the leg locks. That's all. I mean, if anybody could tell you anything, watch for the leg locks.
Yeah, I bet you he will. I bet you he'll break his leg in the leg lock.
You think Paul Harris is going to break Shields' leg?
I bet he'll try.
Oh, that's all he does.
Jake Shields needs a win, though, man. He needs to win bad.
He says he's going to break his leg. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing to say. It's never something you want to try to
Yeah,
tell
you
a
don't
leg.
call out somebody
leg
who
lock
already
specialist.
rips other people's limbs off.
Yeah, you know. Let's see. Jake Shields, he has 2 wins. He beat Ryan Ford, which I was surprised about, and then he took out Brian Foster.
All right.
Doing good in the World Series. This is going to be for the World Series of Fighting Welterweight Championship. Again, same night as the Bantamweight Champion, where Marlon Morales is going up against Shayman Morales. They have the same last name.
I'll definitely watch the highlights.
You definitely watch the highlights, because you will be watching UFC 190 live from Brazil.
I won't be watching it live. I'll be watching the replay.
You're watching the replay?
Yeah.
What happened?
Okay, I'll be coming out of the hills about what time this starts. Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Prelim card on Fight Pass. Hugo Viana going up against Guido Gananetti. This is going to be a lot of Brazilian names that I'm going to butcher horribly
Bad.
because I can't pronounce names and Joey's not here to do it for me. Vitor Miranda going against Clint Hester. Again, both those fights going down on Fight Pass. We're going to have Uri Alcantara going up against Leandro Issa. Warley Alves going against Nordine Talib. Rafael Cavalcante going against Patrick Cummins.
The barista.
The Barista's got another fight, man. I'm excited for Cummins.
Yeah, his last fight actually was really good.
When he got knocked the fuck out by OSP?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cavalcante recently got beat by Ryan Bader, and I think that Patrick Cummins is going to be doing the exact same thing. He has the same style. I mean, he's a good wrestler with heavy hands. Rafael Cavalcante, I like Cavalcante. I like him back when he was in Strikeforce. I just think that Patrick Cummins, the barista boy here, will be taking that fight. That's just my personal opinion. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to take him? All right. And then we have Damian Maia going up against Neil Magny. Again, this is all on Fox Sports 1's, the last 4 fights we're talking about here. Any choice on those there for you?
Oh, I'll take Maya.
You're going to take Maia?
Yeah.
I'll take Magny.
You know, and when we were just talking off mic earlier, I think this is good that he's actually on the prelim. Now I think about it, because then everybody gets to see him for free.
Yeah.
Even though everybody's going to buy this pay-per-view.
This pay-per-view, we have a couple things going on. First of all, this is the first time that a main card has had 7 fights since UFC 144. Now, the reason behind that is because the Ultimate Fighter Brazil, their lightweight and bantamweight finale had to get moved to this card instead of the card that happened back, like 2 weeks ago from Florida, because nobody could get visas.
Right, yeah, because of that computer glitch.
So they had to put everybody on this card. So you have 7 cards on the main card. That's a lot for a pay-per-view.
Well, you know what? I think we've gotten 7 fights before on the main card, but usually it's because fights were quick, and then they brought up a fight from earlier.
I would say UFC 144 is the last time they scheduled 7 fights for the main card. That's a long time. Since we're now on UFC 190. Then we can go into the main card, making her UFC debut, former World Series of Fighting champion Jessica Aguilar, going up against Claudia Gadelha. Who do you got taking in this fight? I like Claudia Gadelha. I think she looked really good against that fight against Joanna, who is current champion right now of the strawweight division. She's the only person to ever take Joanna to a decision. She took her to a split decision. A lot of people in the media thought it was razor thin. We all thought it was 100% for Joanna. I went back and listened to the podcast. We were all unanimous across that. We didn't even think it should have been a split decision.
Right.
However, a lot of the media said that they felt Jessica Aguilar did enough to warrant the decision maybe in her favor. Jessica Aguilar is another woman, though. And this, she was a former champion over World Series of Fighting, but to me, the competition was not there.
Right.
Compared to the UFC.
I think the whole fighting style is a little bit different,
It's completely different. And I actually think that... I don't know, man. I was going back and forth on this, and I think I'm going to take Gadelha for the upset. And actually, she's going to be fighting at home in Brazil. So, and I think a lot's changed since her last fight with Joanna. I'm going to be taking Claudia in this fight.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jessica just because she has a lot to prove in this fight.
They are saying this, too, is possibly as a women's strawweight championship title eliminator. So whoever wins this fight will get to go up against Joanna for the belt. Now, it's good news for Claudia getting a second shot, but that's also big for Jessica Aguilar. Her first fight in the UFC is for a title eliminator.
But I don't know. Now I think it would be bad because watching Joanna, I don't think Jessica's got a chance with her.
This is somebody, though, who, again, she was her own champion in her own time. And she was constantly ranked in the top of the strawweight division in the overall world rankings. Obviously not in the UFC rankings, but in the world rankings.
But you got to understand, Joanna's now been in the UFC. She's been approached by different people. Mm-hmm. They've changed her game, And if Jessica wins, the same thing's going to happen with her.
All right. Then we got Antonio Bigfoot Silva going up against Soa Paleli, the Super Hulk.
Paleli all day.
Paleli all day. That's my decision on that, too. So Paleli all day.
Silva is, I believe, on his way out.
The big thing about this is you're going to see a lot of, like I said, we talked about before, a lot of Brazilian names. A lot of these fights don't matter, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean, other than the Claudia Gadelha fight going against Jessica Aguilar, obviously that's for a title eliminator spot. We got the main event, the championship fight. I get that. And then you got the two guys from the Ultimate Fighter, fighting for their finale. However, Bigfoot Silva versus Soa Paleli does nothing for the heavyweight division.
Not really. Well,
it's a fight for Brazil.
Well, it's a fight actually for Antonio too because
he needs to get back in the winning column.
Yeah.
I think Soa's Olympic wrestling background. He's very fast. I think he's going to be able to take out Bigfoot Silva.
Oh yeah.
Then we go on to Stefan Struve against Antonio Big Nog Nogueira. Again in the heavyweight division. I don't think this fight does much.
No.
It worries me. Obviously, Big Nog's on his way out. He does not look like the warrior he was in the past. Yeah. He is older. He is slower. He is way more chinny.
I don't know. I'm going to go right now. I'm going to go put a side bet whether or not Struve makes it to the ring.
And that's the other thing is Struve is younger and faster. However, he's had multiple health issues going into this, and it just worries me.
He could still faint today. Did they already have weigh-ins? Weigh-ins are over,
Weigh-ins
right?
are today.
Did he faint?
He hasn't seen him yet.
I don't know.
I still think I will be taking...
And I'm not trying to make light of it, but the man, what is it? He has a small heart problem, right?
Yes.
And so how do you fight with a heart problem? Wasn't it a heart problem that sidelined Holyfield?
I thought so, yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't. And this is a whole different thing. This is full body, not just punching. He get kicked in the heart.
I'm still taking Struve to win the fight, though, overall,
really?
If they make it to the cage.
I'm taking Nogueira.
All right. And then we have your Ultimate Fighter Brazil bantamweight finale. You have Reginaldo Vieira against Diano Lopez. I'm going to be taking Lopez on this. I didn't get a chance to watch much of the episodes from the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. A lot of what I've been reading, though, is this kid was just tearing through the ranks. So I'm definitely going to be taking him.
Yeah, I'll take Lopes. Let's see some highlights.
And then
I can't say I've studied a lot about him, but
Glacio Franca going up against Fernando Bruno for the lightweight finale.
I haven't seen anything on either two of these kids.
Yeah, I'm split either way because I honestly do not know much about either one of these guys. I wish I got a chance to watch the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. Maybe I'll get a chance to watch that when it comes out on Fight Pass.
Yeah, and I looked. There's not, especially Bruno, because somebody was telling me something about Bruno, so I was trying to find some stuff on him, but no.
And then your co-main event, a rematch from 2005. Antonio Rogerio Little Nog Nogueira going up against Mauricio Shogun Hua. Does anybody care about a rematch in 2005?
I care because Shogun listens to the show, so I'm taking Shogun.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, man. Are sequels ever that? I mean, we had The Godfather was a good sequel, right? Terminator 2 was a good sequel. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. I feel like this is going to be like Speed 2 or Caddyshack 2.
I think if Struve wins,
Indiana
you can
Jones, Crystal Skull. Like, that's how I feel this sequel's going to be. It's not going to live up, and it's just going to be like, we're drudging it out there for all the old school fans. We're drudging it out there for Brazil. But this means nothing for the light heavyweight division. And both these guys' careers are on the downswing.
Right.
I am a huge Shogun fan. Shogun fan. And I, predicted Nogueira's death the last time I saw him. And I still will be taking Shogun in this fight.
Yeah.
He won the first time. I think he can do enough in the second time. He's
I
not
hope
the same
Shogun
fighter as
can
he
get
was
this
before.
done.
However, I think he's going to be able to do it. I don't know. I don't know what this. Why this is the? I think this is the longest rematch the UFC's ever put together.
I don't know.
From guys who had a match like back in the day.
If I was to switch
From
fights, I think Damian Maia and Magny should have been this fight.
Which, if you have not seen the Shogun Hua Nogueira fight from 2005, go back and watch Pride. It is an amazing fight for 2005 because both the guys were in their prime.
Right.
Now this is one of those ones that we could put on our Legends Division pay-per-view channel that we're starting up. In the Yama Pit.
They've already started it. It's called Bellator.
And then we have Ronda Rousey, your champion, going up against Betch Correia in her hometown. Some facts about this that I was looking up that kind of worry me for Betch. Like, I definitely think she has the stand-up advantage, at least from what we've seen. However, she does not have the experience advantage at all.
No.
Her fighters that she has fought in the UFC are now 0-7.
Yeah, it's all bad.
Where if you look at Ronda's, I mean, they're still doing somewhat decent. The other thing is, too, is Betch has had 350-plus days off since her last fight.
Right.
Ronda's only had about 150. That says a lot. We got to see how Betch comes back for having that much time off. Now, she's been promoting this fight the entire time because this is the fight she's been asking for the entire time. I know she's training hard and trying to get ready, but her style I think matches up well with Ronda. Now, everyone's saying she always has the puncher's chance. Out of anybody that Ronda's faced, she has the best striking.
Right.
But it's a Muay Thai style striking. She's going to blitz forward constantly. And the thing with Ronda is she'll eat the punches for you to come forward and grab that clinch and take you for a ride.
Yeah. Well, she I don't know if she says the Muay Thai, but she says she's going to try to box her.
Yeah.
And unless she can get in, get out. Get in, get out. And I don't see you being able to do that against Ronda.
You get in and you're not getting out.
Yeah.
That's how I think it's going to happen. So, with the other opponents, especially in Ronda's stablemates, she was able to pin them against the cage and just unload a barrage of strikes, stopping the fight. That's not going to happen with Ronda. Ronda's not going to put her hands up and just block punches against the fence and just sit there and wait. She will grab a hold of you. She will eat some of those punches. And I don't think Betch has the hands to knock out.
The hand strength?
I don't.
She has the kicking ability.
Has the kicking ability. I don't think she has knockout power. I think she has cumulative. She will throw multiple punches, much like we just saw TJ Dillashaw do, or much like in her other fights that we saw her do, where she lands, 40, 50 punches up against somebody who's standing against the corner, and finally you're like, just stop it. They're just heads bouncing off the cage. It's not doing anything.
Right.
But I don't think Ronda's one to stand there that long and absorb that many. She will absorb some to get close to you and then take you for the ride,
but
take you down.
Still, we've never seen that on the money button shot.
Right.
And
she's taken some stiff shots. Ronda's taken some stiff shots before.
Well,
she take through a couple that are pretty good ones.
Carmouche got her a couple times.
Yeah, got her a couple times pretty good. But she bites down on that mouthpiece and just goes. And
Betch, you can go and watch fights where she takes the punches to the face.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with her too. Is that her Muay Thai style is she will just forehead forward and just come forward instead of boxing forward and moving in and out. She just tries to bull rush through. And Ronda wants to do the same thing with her striking. And again, she gets a hold of you in the clinch. You're going for that ride. You're getting those knees.
Watching those two stand in front of each other Wednesday, who do you think is the stronger of the two?
It's hard to tell. I mean, Betch looks strong, but you have to think how much technique goes into Ronda's judo that she's gone up against these stronger people before multiple times. That's what judo is.
I know.
You know what I mean?
And that's what everybody keeps saying. They're like, oh, yeah, if you want to go jiu-jitsu this and jiu-jitsu that, that's fine, but she's got 17 years of judo to catch
Olympic
up to.
level judo.
Right.
I mean, and the thing is Betch is only a blue belt in jiu-jitsu on the ground.
Yeah.
That does not bode well against an Olympic caliber black belt in judo. It just doesn't. Now, it's possible. I just still think Ronda Rousey is going to finish this fight. I'm saying still first round, possibly second. She says she wants to let it go. Her mom started yelling at her. Said, you will absolutely not let this fight go. I want you to finish it as soon as you can. Let's prolong your fight career, number one. Number two, let's embarrass her in front of her home country if she wants to talk trash.
Oh, they've already done that.
Oh, they've been talking trash nonstop.
Well, I mean, even without the trash talk, Betch's family and friends have gave more love to Ronda than to Betch down there in Brazil.
So
she's a superstar down there.
Yeah.
Do you see that one where the kid rushed in to get her autograph, hugged her? Mm-hmm. The whole crowd's going crazy.
So that wraps it up for this week. Let's see if we can catch the weigh-ins here. Not yet.
No, the weigh-ins haven't started yet. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in to Split Decision MMA. Again, go check out our sponsors, strongboardbalance.com. Change the way you work out. Get on board. That's strongboardbalance.com. What was that, Dodge?
Strongboardbalance.com. Can I take it home now?
No, you can't take the board home. And also check out mymmanews.com. And if you're listening to the show, you already know where to find us. I'm not going to tell you who we are, but we're on Facebook, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Instagram. So on behalf of Josh Radio Ruloff, we'll see you at the fights.